Yeah, very good morning, guys. Hold on for another 5 minutes for today. The link got changed. Many people are just still joining just for today. Another 5 minutes. Hold on. Not starting it. Okay. Well, very good morning, guys. Let's start the session. Fine. So last day, I have just been explaining you about the differences between the web forms and the MVC architectures. I have just been talking about the difference between web forms and the MVC architectures, how they are going to be different. What did I say? In web forms architecture, see, in every web application, what we have is web pages. In every web application, what we have is web pages. In web forms architecture, every web page is a controller. Every web page is a controller. Pages are controllers only now. But when you come to the MVC architecture, all pages are not controllers here. There will be a separate front controller here, and that controller will be giving access to the pages. Did you get my point? I just said you an example also today. See, in the last session, what they, if all players in the team are captains, that will be a nonsense now. Yes or not? So there should be one captain for a team. Exactly. There will be only one controller over here, not like multiple controllers. Next. In web forms architecture, there are a lot of server-side interactions and postbacks. Very clearly explained. Even if you want to clear the screen, also you need to go to server. Even if at all you want to reset or clear the screen, then also you need to contact the server. But that's not the case in your MVC architecture. You don't require to contact the server for everything. So here, a very minimum postbacks and interactions will be present. Third one. What is the third thing? The third difference I said you is in ASP.NET web forms we have file-based URLs, means in the address bar you will see the complete path of the file. You will see the complete path of the file, folder name, subfolder, where you put the page, all those details should be in the address bar. Got the point? But in MVC we don't have file-based URLs at all. What we have is only action methods. Controller name, action method. Where is the controller defined? That's none of your business. You don't require to specify the path. Only name of the controller and the name of the action method is what we just write there. Okay, next. Yeah, these are the next. Yeah, these are the three differences I just explained in the last class. The next, fourth difference is no separation of concerns. As we discussed that every page has its own controller code behind, so both are tightly coupled. So actually the main problem here is there is no separation of concerns, guys. There is no separation of concerns. Means in every page is out controller now. Every page you will be having the database coding or whatever you have, you write it in every page. Whatever you have, you write it in every page. But when we come to MVC, what we discussed, like we write all the code, means logic will go to models. Business logic, data logic, all that code will be in the model. Presentation will be containing only UI. The view contains only the UI. And controller is going to be responsible in connecting the view and the model with the users. So everything is clearly separated. But if you come to the ASP.NET architecture, it's not like separation of concerns. In the same page, you'll have UI code, business logic, everything will be in one page on. Did you catch my point? In every page, you'll have the UI code as well as presentation logic. Everything will be in one page only. But when you come to the other side, very clean separation of concerns, view, model, and controller are neatly separated. Everything is neatly separated here. Next. Because of the tightly coupled behavior, automated testing is difficult. Actually, tomorrow when you go for automated testing, because of the coupled behavior, they feel that testing is going to be complicated for them. We are not testers. But that is the problem for testers. Automated testing is going to be a little bit difficult for them in a coupled behavior. But see, testability is the key feature of ASP.NET MVC. Test-driven development is quite simple using this approach. Because we have all database coding in one place, we don't require to go for testing multiple pages. We just only test the models. Once we test the models, that is just going to give you the results to you, whether the model coding is perfectly done or not. So test-driven approach is one of the key feature what you're finding up in the MVC. Next. To achieve stateful behavior, view state is purpose was to give developer the same experience of typical Windows Forms application. So what it is exactly is, all of you in your HTML, you might be coming across this one here. In your HTML, when you, is a login form, what we already created. Suppose I'm entering the name and entering the password. When I click on the login button, what will happen? The page is submitted to server. The page is submitted to server. What is there? There is a submit button. The page is submitted to server. What remember submitting the server? Submitting to server means all the data will be sent to the server. That's called as submitting. Did you understand my point? So what we call it? Submitting. When you click on the login, all the data what I entered here will be sent to a server. And we call that process as submitting. The page is submitted to server. So right now we created the page with HTML. When I click on the login button and the page is submitted to server, immediately the controls gets cleared off here. You might be saw this in your HTML classes already. But if you design the same page by using ASP.NET, even after clicking on this button, the controls will not be cleared. That is one of the great feature what ASP.NET has in it. One of the great feature what web forms have in it. What is that? The controls won't be cleared. They won't be clearing the controls. Means, suppose some 10-20 controls, I enter some values, click on this one, submitted to server, all are cleared off. But I want to see the data what I entered. I cannot. But in web forms, the page won't be cleared like this. So it will maintain the state of the values of all the controls except password text box. Except password text box, all the controls will maintain the state of it. You guys, you're learning Windows applications now. In Windows applications also, generally when you learn Windows Forms, in Windows Forms also, if you just understand, the page won't be cleared. The page won't be cleared after submitting data to server. Means in Windows also, the page won't be cleared. The controls won't be cleared. But when you come to web forms, all the controls will be cleared off here. All the controls will be cleared off here. Where in HTML. But when you come to ASP.NET web forms, after filling all the data and click on the button, even if the page is submitted to server, the controls will not be cleared. So we call this as a stateful behavior. Generally, all the HTML controls are stateless. Stateless in the sense, we'll be clearing the values of the things here. But when you come to ASP.NET controls will not be cleared like this. That is one of the great feature what Microsoft has added in the ASP.NET web forms. Okay, so that's a great feature, no doubt. But to maintain that, what happens, there are a lot of coding behind the screen. To maintain that, we don't do the coding, but already a lot of coding has been done to maintain the state of the values. And in this process, lot of data will be transferred between the browser and the server. Lot of data will be transferred between the browser and the server. So this will make the web page heavyweight. The pages are going to be heavyweight here. But when you come to MVC is again a step back here. MVC is again a step back. A step back in the sense, once page submitted, all the controls are cleared. Everything is cleared off. So it's a step back architecture. Because it is going to be step back here, there is no concept of state maintenance and all the things. So the page is going to be lightweight. So ASPX web form pages are heavyweight, but MVC pages are lightweight. MVC pages are lightweight. You came for MVC class? MVC? Okay. So fine. Yeah. You can just see that. My keyboard working. You can see. To achieve stateful behavior, view state is used. The purpose was to give developer the same experience of a typical Windows Forms application. ASP.NET and MVC approach is stateless as that of the web. So there is no concept of view state. What is the view state? The view state is nothing but maintaining the state of controls. So we don't have state maintenance of the controls available in the MVC. HTML doesn't have. MVC also doesn't have. but it is present only in one web technology till now in the industry. No other web technology gives this particular option. Only one technology, that is the web forms technology. So initially it was very successful here. Initially that's a very successful, but going forward, people felt that the pages are becoming heavyweight. The pages are becoming heavyweight because of this view state maintenance and all. And later on, they started thinking like, why are we maintaining the state of the values? And that slowly led to leaving the web forms architecture and coming to the MVC architecture. Why is it not responding? Yeah, next. Statefulness has a lot of problems. Just now, this is what you. Statefulness has a lot of problems for web environment. Excessive, larger view state. Larger view state means increase in heavyweight pages now. But when you come to the other side, MVC, what is that? As controllers and views are not dependent and no view state concept is in ASP.NET MVC, so output is very clean. Simple and clean. The output is very simple and clean in this case. Simple and clean. Next, ASP.NET Web Forms. ASP.NET Web Forms follows Web Forms syntax. ASP.NET Web Forms follow Web Forms syntax. What is that? It's a complete new syntax what Microsoft has introduced for us to create the web pages, not HTML syntax. What we follow is Web Forms syntax. What is the, sir? What is the difference? You'll ask me. How do you create a text box in HTML? Can you help me? I want to create a text box in HTML. How do you create? No, tell me. Tell me the code here. Input type is equals to text, right? ID is equals to txt name. Name is equals to txt name. This is how you write, correct? Which will create your text box. But if at all you want to create the same text box using a web forms, how do you create a text box in web forms? You know, watch it. ASP colon text box. ID is equals to txt name. Remit is equals to server. Understand? This is to indicate that this is a server-side code. I said you all here is Postbacks and server-side code only. Everything is server-side. You will be writing, you will be creating a text box like this. If you write this code, all of you carefully follow me. If you write this code, by the time it reaches to the browser, what you see is this code. Did you catch my point or not? What developer writes is this code. But developer understands, browser doesn't understand. What browser understands is only HTML. So what happens now? When a request goes now, all the code what I have written here will be converted into HTML format and will be sent to browser again. So this is time consuming now. Array, I have some under controls on my screen. All these under controls again, they should be converted into HTML format. The process of conversion is called as rendering. Remember this word, we will be coming across this a lot of places. Rendering. What is rendering? Rendering in the sense, converting into HTML format or the browser understandable format is what we call as rendering. It will do all the rendering and finally sends what? HTML code only to the browser. But what is the developer writing is not HTML code. It follows a different syntax and we call this as a ASPX syntax. What we call ASPX syntax. Okay, so fine. Now that is the other point what I was just trying to list you here. What is it? Follows web form syntax. That is nothing but the ASPX syntax. ASP.NET MVC follows customizable syntax, both web forms as well as Razor. They are two different. It supports your web form syntaxes here, guys, but still we have a simple and modified, a better syntax that is available called as Razor. Very easy to use syntax. No need any complications like a web forms. It will be a mixture of C# and HTML. It's a mixture of C# and HTML. That's called Razor. And we will be following the complete Razor syntax only, and that is the default syntax what it adopts to you. Is that clear? We'll be completely following the Razor syntax only. Just to give an idea, one day I will show you web form syntax and also Razor. We'll try to compare both the two things, and but we'll be finally ending up with the Razor syntax only all the time, but not the web form syntax at all. Is that clear? Yeah. So Asp Net web forms follows web form syntax. But here, web form syntax also available. Razor is also available. Next. Asp.NET web forms, Asp.NET web forms model follows a complex page life cycle. Means a page life cycle means processing of the page. What code are you writing? HTML code or ASPX code? The ASPX code should be processed, converted into HTML. So this process is going to be very complicated. This process is going to be very, very complicated. It's a complex process. We call it the page life cycle. From the point the request comes to the server for a page, to the point the response reaches to the browser, lot of processing will be done for you on this server. Start, initialize, load, validations, event handling, rendering, like this. We just have a lot of stages that are adopted here to finally send the response to the browser. That's called as a page life cycle, and that page life cycle is very, very complex here. And when we come to here, no page life cycle like web forms. Request cycle is a simple and very simple here, easy to understand. You don't require to just break your head. In web forms architecture here, page life cycle is very, very important. It's a mandatory question for all the people who used to go for interviews for web forms. If you go for an interview for Asp Net web forms, the interview will not happen without asking about the page life cycle. That's that much important it is. Everyone will ask about that one, and you're required to explain each and every stage of the page life cycle in detail. But when you come to MVC life cycle is very simple and very easy. It's not going to be complex or complicated. So that is the other advantage what you have. Next. In web forms, we have server controls. So minimum knowledge of HTML and CSS is required. What is that? Just now I said here, we don't have text box here. What we have? ASP colon text box. I want to set a background color. I want to set a background color for my text box. If you write the code in HTML, how do you write? Style, back color is equals to, that's how you write now. But when you come to web forms, when you come to the web forms controls, we don't require to follow all this nonsense. Why you know? You people, most of you people attending, you're learning Windows forms now. In Windows forms, if at all you want to change the background color, foreground color, font of a control, what are you doing? Simply using a property window, and you just set the property values in the property window. Visual Studio will write up the code now. The same point here also. We don't require to write any manual coding, guys. Property window will come. Go there, change up the values. It will write up the code for you. Provided they are web form controls, not HTML controls. Flexibility is only for the web form, and it will generate all the code. Finally converts back into HTML also for you. We see the browser, if you go and see, it will be in the HTML format. Are you clear? So what is that? So minimum knowledge of HTML, CSS is required now. I don't require to have knowledge on CSS now. It write all the code for me. But when you come on the other side, in MVC we have HTML helper. So detailed knowledge of HTML and CSS is required. You require a very detailed knowledge of HTML and CSS. And yeah, provides limited control over HTML, JavaScript and CSS, which is necessary in many cases. Actually, web form developers, this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, means we bypass them because all the coding is done by using ASPX. We really bypass them. So knowledge on this will be very minimum for the developers here. But when you come to the other side, full control over HTML, JavaScript and CSS. That's where when I started the sessions to you, what did I say first? What are the prerequisites I said here? HTML, JavaScript, CSS, C#. Without having knowledge on these, don't attend to class. I said you very clearly that one. Why? It's completely HTML, JavaScript, CSS plus C# code. All the things are combined together for creating our web pages. Is that clear? Next. With lot of control libraries availability and a limited knowledge of other related technology, ASP.NET Web Forms is RAD. Rapid application development. Are not like ASP.NET here. In the C# classes also I was telling you. The concept of the Microsoft itself is RAD. Rapid application development. What is that? Drag and drop. Property windows. You want to write code for an event. Just a double click. In JavaScript, if at all you want to write some event, a function and call it an event, what you should do? You should go for writing the header tag script, write a function. Again, you come to the controls in the form control. For the control, you write on click is equals to and bind the function name now. If anything you wrongly typed, the code won't execute. JavaScript, the bloody hell with HTML and JavaScript, they will directly will not show the errors on the screen now. Yes or not? But these problems you will not face in Microsoft applications at all. Why? In Windows, you learned already. If you want to write a code for the button, what do you do? You double click on the click event, it will write the function. Just write the logic. They are already bound. You don't require to take any responsibility of binding the control and the event procedure with each other. All that is automatic. So it is purely rapid application development. But when you come to here, I already said you 10 minutes back. What is it? Step back for developers, decreasing in the productivity. It is a step back. Again, we came back to regular HTML style of coding here. So for developers, this is going to decrease the productivity. Productivity point of view, MVC will be decreasing the productivity of developers. But applications are strong. Productivity decreases, but applications are strong and lightweight. Array, see, you are paid for writing code here. So here we should not think about a lot of coding, because end of the day, what is important? Performance is important. Not how much efforts you put. You may take a lot of efforts, but finally your page is not running good. All your efforts are waste. You can't say, I put a lot of efforts. Who cares? You're paid for that. Are you getting me? Finally, the output what I want is a perfect clean output here. If I don't get that, there is no point of all your efforts. So it is going to increase the product. It is going to decrease the productivity. Efforts are, but end of the day, performance will be awesome. So that's one of the good thing what you're finding in the MVC. Next, it's good for small scale applications with limited size, and it is better as well as recommended approach for large scale application where different team sizes are working together. Actually, in the starting classes, I already said you, generally we use a web forms architecture for small applications, and MVC architecture is well recommended for large scale applications. For small scale and the large scale applications, we just use this. Next, when you come to the web forms, the response type means the final outcome what is generated is HTML. Means every page will finally generate what? HTML. And if you want any other response type, we need to write some complex code. But when you come to here, guys, the response type is HTML, XML, JSON. The different response type formats are there. Means I don't require to send the output to the browser only as HTML. I can send the output as XML, as well as I can send the output as JSON also. But when you come to the web forms architecture, what is the output type? Pure HTML. Sir, I want a XML. You need to write all the logic for that to generate the XML output or the JSON output. But you don't have to require to follow that. It is a direct inbuilt option that is available to choose the response type on your own. Are you clear? Default is HTML, but still you have an option to change to XML as well as JSON. We'll see all those particular things, how to get JSON output, how to get XML output. Default you will get HTML output here, but still if you want to go for XML or JSON also, how to do, we'll just discuss on all the things. These are the major differences what you have between the web forms architecture and the MVC architecture. And a very important point I want to clarify here, read this, all of you, read this point. The first point, remember, is not a replacement. Yeah, it is a replacement. When did MVC come? 2008. Means already 14 years. Array, 14 years means by this time web forms architecture should be put a full stop now. Are you getting the point? But what did I say in the first day? Array, we are not building new applications with web forms, but old applications are still under maintenance. All the maintenance of the old application should be still done on web forms. New application development is not there, but old applications are still running on the web forms architecture. Okay, in our company only we have many websites. In our company only we have many websites that are still running on the web forms architecture. Many websites. Are you getting me? Okay, slowly company is thinking like, let us migrate it to MVC architecture, but it's a time-taking process, not immediately. Over a period of time, it may take another 5 or 6 years for changing all of them into MVC. But still, web forms will be available in the market and you will be using it also in the market, but not for new applications. It is only for maintaining of the old applications. Okay, going forward, after another 10 years, maybe all the companies may move their applications from web forms architecture to the MVC architecture, but time taking. You still know that. Actually, first what came from Microsoft for building web applications is ASP. I said you the history, remember 1996. You still have websites in the industry which are running on ASP. But that is not object oriented, nothing, no features, but still the website is present and the websites are still running. Latest features may not be available, complex coding will be there, but still the companies are not ready to invest money to change them to the modern, So still the ASP websites are also still running. ASP means 1996, nearly 24 years. Nearly it is going to be 24 years. 26 years. Okay, still they are just going to be running in the industry still. So you don't expect web forms will be removed off. It will be present. But over a period of time, people slowly start stopping the application developments or everything will be stopped off with web forms and everything will move to MVC. Okay, so these are the differences what we just have here. Yeah? And if you see, this is, I said you, the page life cycle of an web forms is going to be very complicated. It's just going to be very, very complicated. So if at all you just notice it, if a request comes, is a client system here, if a request comes to the server, what is IS? Okay, internally it will be using one DLL to process the request, and is all the things that happens to you. These all the step-by-step process that happens to you. And there's a life cycle, initialization, loading the view state, pre-render, lots of things will be there. And finally, generates the output to you. Starting from here, it will undergo all this series of actions, and finally, the HTML response will be sent to the browser. Final response is HTML, right? That's what I said to you. Your output is always HTML output. So it's a complex life cycle process here. It's a complex life cycle process what we have. Can we have knowledge on web forms? You're learning MVC and how will you have knowledge on web forms? What are you learning? MVC. Then how are you asking the question, do we have knowledge on web forms? You don't require knowledge of web forms, but you're not going to gain any knowledge on web forms in my class. I'm not teaching web forms. If you want web forms, in the first day I said you, if anyone wants web forms, they sell the videos of the web forms to you, you can purchase them. If you need, if you want, you can purchase them. But this class will never talk anything about the web forms at all. Is that clear? We are completely focusing on MVC. For this only, I said you a lot of courses there. MVC 5, MVC core, MVC 6. If I add web forms here, it will take 6 months to complete the classes. So that's completely different. We are not going to touch that anything. Just to give an idea, I said you the differences, that's all. Okay, and this is a MVC life cycle. This is a MVC request life cycle. I'm not explaining now. Let us code. After the coding, understanding about a model, understanding about a view, understanding about a controller, then I will give an explanation about this. Is that clear? Okay, I given in the notes, but not explaining you now because you don't know How to define a controller, how to define a view, how to define a model. You don't know anything at all. So let me first show you the coding. Once after coding, explain you completely about a controller, explain you completely about a view, and explain you completely about a model. After completing all, then I will teach you about the life cycle, the MVC request life cycle. Not page life cycle, here it is called as request life cycle. Here it is called as page life cycle actually. The request life cycle here called as page life cycle, but here it is only called as the request life cycle. I'll give an explanation for this going forward, not now. Okay, now. Yeah, this is about, means all these contents I just explained you. So I'm not talking about them now. We'll jump into programming. We'll just look at them later. And these are the version history, guys. This is a version history, like how you just got MVC in the market. And these are all the different versions. And finally, the last version of your MVC is MVC 5. The last version of MVC from framework. The last version of MVC from framework is MVC 5. Afterwards, what started? Core. What started is MVC core. And these are the list of the core versions. This is a list of all the core versions, and the latest right now is 6.0. Actually, one good thing with core, you know, what is your runtime version? Your core version also will be same. What's your runtime version? .6. What's your runtime version? .NET Core 6. ASP.NET also same. But in framework, we have the headache. What headache, you know? Framework versions are different. ASP.NET versions are different. But here, the runtime versions, the .NET versions, both are going to be very, very similar. No mismatch for them at all. Is that clear? So no mismatch at all. Both will be having the same versions here. That's one of the great things here. From today onwards, anything you want, ask your admin. I'm not responsible. Only regarding the class, only just ask me, guys. Anything about this subject. Sir, I want this video, I want that video. I'm not responsible for that. Just contact your admins. Yeah. And basically, if you just understand, here I given you a picture about the release, the software version release life cycle. In the sense, tomorrow you are going to launch a software in the market. You are going to launch a software in the market. When you generally launch software in the market, directly they won't launch yet. There will be different stages in it called as pre-alpha, alpha, beta. You might be knowing about beta, or when software launches a beta version. But before beta, they have pre-alpha version, alpha version, beta version. Next one, release candidate, RTM, GA, finally the gold. Gold in the sense, production or live version. So basically, when RTM releases comes, we can start development of the application. By the time gold comes, we can release the product in the market. We release the product in the market. These are all other things just only to, means like we only have all these particular things before launching lot of testing phases. Lot of testing phases. All these are the different stages of the phases what we come across in the software life cycle. Just try to Google what is meant by pre-alpha, what is meant by alpha, what is meant by beta, what is meant by release candidate. Today it is not important for you, but going forward, when you just start tomorrow in a company, and if they say, today we are going to launch an alpha version, for your knowledge. So what is meant by an alpha version? Try to just explore them in the Google. Okay, it's out of the syllabus, just only giving you a gist of the things what we just have here. Is that clear? Okay, fine. Now, let's start our programming part here. Let's just jump into our programming here. Until hold on, guys. And mostly, if the admin can provide you, today's video will be the last video. If the admin provides you, today video will be the last video. From tomorrow onwards, they won't provide you any videos. Because today people joined late into the session, maybe he'll get a video. But tomorrow onwards, no videos. If you miss your class, that's it. That's all. Okay. And one more thing, just be early in the class. Be early in the class. Today I started late, but I was in 7:20. I was in the classroom today. Because of the meeting link changed, I just did not start the session. But by 7:20, I was in the class today. Okay. Just start early. You're coming at 7:30, 7:35 also. Okay. I'm starting at 7:30 till now. Fine. It's my mistake, but you are coming still late than me. Be in the class early. Okay. So fine. So let's see how are we going to develop our MVC application. If you recollect, in the day one, when I started up with the subject, in the day one, not today, when we started our class in that, I very clearly explained you what is that. If at all you talk about MVC, in MVC we have two different options again. What are the two different options? One is ASP.NET MVC. Second one is ASP.NET Core MVC. Are you clear? What is the first one? Which year it was launched? 2008. Second one, ASP.NET Core MVC. ASP.NET Core MVC. And this was launched in 2016. Clear? And very importantly, this works only with .NET Framework runtime. You can run it only with the .NET Framework runtime. And what about this one? The starting versions of Core MVC, runs on framework also, but the latest version of the Core MVC runs on .NET Core runtime only, will not run on the framework at all. Is my point clear? Okay, if anyone has just missed up this points, watch the introduction videos. Watch the introduction videos. Your admin will provide you all the introduction videos until the 9th. Today is the 8th class. Huh? Yeah, today is our 8th class. All the introduction videos are available. They'll provide you. In the first class, I was just talking about all these things. Am I clear or not? So first, ASP.NET MVC runs only on .NET Framework runtime. ASP.NET Core MVC runs on, initial versions used to run on Framework and Core, but the current version runs only on .NET Core, only on the .NET Core. And what are we learning? We are going to learn both ASP.NET as well as, we are going to learn ASP.NET MVC as well as the Core MVC. Both we are going to learn. First we'll start with ASP.NET MVC. The last version of ASP.NET MVC is 5. The last version of ASP.NET MVC is 5. That's what in the list I have just been showing up that only. MVC 5. Afterwards, there is no ASP.NET MVC anymore. After that, there is no ASP.NET MVC anymore. What we have completely is only Core. Means they stopped it over there. Okay. And the latest version of our Core MVC is 6. The latest version of the Core MVC is going to be 6. What is not working? Shit. Windows Plus is not working. Okay. I think up to 3. Till which version of the Core MVC Core runs on the .NET Framework? Means up to 3. I remember. Up to ASP.NET MVC 3 that runs both on Framework as well as Core runtimes also. Latest runs only on the Core. Okay. Yeah. So first we are starting with what? ASP.NET MVC 5. This is the last version of MVC from .NET Framework, and the next version is first named as MVC 6, but later renamed as ASP.NET Core MVC and ported to .NET Core. So first, let's learn working with ASP.NET MVC 5. Yeah, classroom students, I'll just send the notes, guys. I'll send the notes from tomorrow onwards for me expanding and collapsing it, becoming a little bit time taking. So please carry the notes to the classroom from tomorrow. Is that clear? Your screen size is not visible to all. Just try carrying the notes to the classroom. I'll send the latest copy to him. Today I'll just send him, and you can just take a printed copy of it and carry the notes in the classroom, please. Okay? Yeah. Developing an ASP.NET MVC 5 application. This is the last version of MVC from .NET Framework, and the next version is first named as MVC 6, but later renamed as ASP.NET Core MVC and ported to .NET Core. So first let's learn working with ASP.NET MVC 5. Okay, guys, I'm going to teach you this on the latest version of the Visual Studio. I'm going to teach you this with the latest version of the Visual Studio. So first, all of you make sure like you have the latest version, because all of you, most of you from your C# classes, you already installed the latest version of your Visual Studio. If anyone has not, download and install the latest version of the Visual Studio on your machines. And here I given the complete steps to install these things. Most of you people are already aware of it, but still in the notes I given you. What is that? Download and install the latest version of Visual Studio Community Edition, VS 2022. Okay, version 17, guys. It's version 17.1 or something will be there. You know, right? Version 17. From, this is the location. This is the location. Who has Visual Studio on your machine? Don't worry. Okay, now? And the downloader, you need to select the options here. What are the options? ASP.NET Web Development, Azure Web Development, .NET Desktop Development, Data Storage and Processing, Visual Studio Extension Development. These are the options what we'll be getting there. So nearly some 15 to 20 options will be there. Choose these 5. Choose these 5 options. We call them as workloads. We call these options as workloads. Choose the 5 workloads. Okay. Already VS installed on my system. Why the skip version 4? Which one? Where 4 is skipped? You're talking about MVC? We have MVC 4 also. Actually, when you download the installer and try to run, this is what it opens to you. Just a second. Yes, that's what I'm telling you. Already who has that? Don't bother about this. Already who installed VS on your machines? Don't bother about this. Yeah. Look, guys. These are called workloads. These are the workloads you need to select. What is it? ASP.NET Web Development, Azure Development, by Python, .NET Desktop Development, Data Storage and Processing. Something is missed. Visual Studio Extension Development. Extension development, that's missing there. Yeah, see right now on my machine, I did not select this Visual Studio Extension Development. Now I'm adding it. Now I have only 4. I'm just trying to add it. Okay, so like this, you select. If anyone is updating, this is a process. Anything installed, this is how you can update. So selecting the new, what is already I selected 4 and installed of, if one I'm adding it now. Just select it, and after selecting it in the bottom, you'll be finding out install button. If you are doing for the first time, you'll find install button. If you're updating, you'll find modify button. 168 MB is what it is just going to add for modification of this. Okay. And one more thing I will tell you. What's it? If you people already have an older version of the VS on your system, if you people already have a older version of the VS on your system, on the top of it, install VS 2022. Is that clear? Because we are going to learn the latest here. Because I'm going to teach the latest, on the top of it, don't uninstall the old version. On the top of it, install of 2022 Community Edition. Is my point clear, all of you? Okay, so some of you people might already have this on your system. That's what I'm telling you. You have Visual Studio 2017 now? No need. Don't update or do anything at all. Just simply on the top of it, what you'll do? Install 2019 VS. Sorry, 2022 VS. It won't take much space here. It won't take much space. Why? Already libraries, everything are present now. On the top of it, it will install. So don't uninstall anything at all. If you uninstall, that will be a big headache. Like all components not getting cleared. Again, when you're installing, you'll be facing up so many problems with it. So just don't uninstall anything. On the top of it, install 2022 on your machines. Okay? Sharda, yesterday you asked this question. I said you, C# is going to complete within 3 days. And you are still asking me to, sir, give gap, sir. For 3 days only, not 20 minutes. By Saturday, C# finish in. Then why you worry about that? Just for 3 days. Yeah. Am I clear? All of you? So that's what this is about the Asp Net. Just install. And actually, guys, when you are just going to install, oh, I was updating this. Hold on. Yeah, when you're going to install it, you'll be selecting up all the options what I selected. Then afterwards, you'll be finding another thing called as individual components. And in the individual components, you'll find a .NET option. Under that, so many checkboxes will be there. Select all these checkboxes, ignoring out of support and out of support and ML.NET. This is not required. Unnecessary, this install on my machine is not required. I listed up there. Out of support, remove all the out of support options, ML.NET, few things which will not be required. What is it? Android, iOS, Mac, ignore all these things. Are you clear? Which is not relevant, just try to ignore the things. They don't consume much space. If you install also, no problem. If you install also, there is no issue with that. Okay. And coming below, don't touch all these things. You'll be finding code tools. In code tools, you'll find an option. What is that? Link to SQL classes. Select that option. Link to SQL classes. Is that clearer, everyone? So these are the options. What exactly you just require to choose and install. So select, I given up in detail in the notes to all. So just to choose that options and install the Visual Studio on your machines. This is the first thing all of you do. First, make sure you have the latest version of the Visual Studio installed on your machines, because we'll see all the latest syntaxes and all the latest features and functionalities. That's why I asked you to update it. Okay, fine. Next. I wanted to create a project now. What project? An MVC project. I want to create a MVC project now. So how do you create an MVC project? Okay, all of you, have a look on this. If you are using Mac, install Mac. Update. Pavan, you can update. You open the studio. In the studio, if you go to Tools menu, open the studio. And in the studio, if you go to the Tools menu, all of you, anyone have to update. This is the process. Already installed and you're updating. What to do? Tools menu. And you will find an option called Get Tools and Features. Get Tools and Features. The first option only. The Tools menu, the first option. That will launch you the updater for you where you can update. Is that clear? If you're not installed, when you install, this window will come. If already installed, go for updating. Okay? And some people have a doubt. Sir, I have 17. Can I update with 2022? 17 won't update with 2022 or 19 won't update to 2022. Yeah, that won't happen. You should completely install on the top of it. That's all. You don't think like from Windows 2017, from Visual Studio 2017, you can update to 2022. That's a different version. This is a different version. Both are completely different. You need to separately install 2022 on the top of 2017 or 2019, whatever you have. Okay, fine. Let me create a project, guys. Hold on a second. Let's open the Visual Studio. All of you are aware how to create a project in Visual Studio already. So if you are first time using 2022, have a look. This is how the Visual Studio 2022 comes. On the right hand side, you'll find an option. Create a new project. Click on that. And now it will open you a new window called create a new project window. And here, just to choose your options. First, what you'll select is C# here. You'll be finding up just a minute. Yeah. You'll be finding an option. All languages. In this, select the language. C#. You'll be finding out all platforms. In this, select the option. Windows. Here you'll be finding out project types. What type of project you want to. Select web. Array, till now what did you select? Console, desktop. For CUI console, for GUI, desktop. Correct? Now you are selecting web. This is what you are selecting. Web. Is that clear? So web is what you are selecting. When you go for a web, all of you carefully observe. What is it showing you first? Be careful. Don't select up this particular option. We are not learning .NET Core. Is that clear? Scroll down. Scroll down completely. These are all core. Be careful where it shows core. But framework in the brackets clearly shows you .NET framework. That's what we are learning first. Okay? So scroll down and in the below you'll be finding up that particular option somewhere. Yes. Is that clear? ASP.NET Web Application .NET Framework. So that is the option what you need to select. ASP.NET Web Application .NET Framework. Okay. Select that option. And now click on the next button. Now give a name to your project. Any name of your choice here. Any name, whatever you like. Okay. Give a name of your choice. Guys, I just given the name for my project as MVC Test Project 1. Okay, no issues. Choice is yours. MVC Test Project 1. Next, location. We already created one folder for saving the files now. What is it? MVC 7. We already created one folder for storing all our content. On that day, we stored one page also. What is it? Login dot. And a simple HTML page I created and saved for you in that folder. The folder is empty only with one file in that. That's all. Let's save it that. Browse. E drive, MVC 7. So I suggest you all, all of you, better I suggest you, don't save your code on the C drive. Leave C drive completely for softwares. Don't save your code on the C drive. That's my suggestion to you. If you have D drive or E drive, whatever you have, better go there. C drive, always leave it for softwares here. Don't store anything on that. That's a better thing. Okay? Now? So I storing on E drive because my system misses with D drive. So I'm storing on the E drive. Yeah. And you can see what are we using? The .NET framework. And what the last version of the .NET framework is 4.8. Guys, if you don't see 4.8 in the list, if you don't see 4.8 in the list, update it. Just I showed you right now, update it. Update and select all the check boxes. Understood? If you see 4.7.1 or 4.8, you don't see. Update yourself, the studio, so that you'll get it. I already have all the latest update, so I'm selecting the .NET Framework 4.8. Click on the Create button. When you click on the Create button, guys, here it will ask you. What it will ask you? You want to create an empty project, web forms project, MVC project. See now, it is asking you. What did I say? Web forms or MVC, everything is ASP.NET only. I said you na, the day one I said you. And I don't be confused with it. Some people, sir, are we learning ASP.NET? MVC is also ASP.NET only. Did you get my point? Under ASP.NET only we have web forms, MVC, web API also I said to you. I listed all the three to you. What three? Web forms, MVC, web API. We are not learning web forms, but we'll be learning MVC as well as we'll be learning web API also in our course. But this is out of syllabus. So what is the first option? Four options we say here. What is the first option? Empty. Empty means when you select this empty, on the right side, it will show you three checkboxes to you. What's it? Add folders and core references. What is this? If I select web forms, what it will do, you know? It will add all the references to the project for developing a web forms application. If you say MVC, it will add all the references to develop an MVC application. If you say web API, it will add all the references to a web API application. Not adding references means, libraries here. We need different libraries. If you want to develop a Windows application, I need a different set of libraries. If I want to develop a web forms, I need a different set of libraries. For MVC, different set of library. The libraries are different. It will add you all the references to the libraries. Second thing it will do, you know, it will add you folders. What's it? For web forms, we require a set of folders. For MVC, we require a set of folders. Folders, sir. For MVC, three important folders you'll find. What you know? Model, views, controllers. You'll be finding a folder called controllers to store all the controllers. You'll find a folder called models to store all your models. You'll find a folder called views to store all your views. Like this, it will also tell you, I will add you all the required references to you. Are you clear? What is your requirement now? MVC. Select MVC. Select MVC. So what it will create you? A blank project with the folders, with this particular folders. Now, second option. What is second option? I can even select MVC directly here. If I select MVC here, what happens? Nothing here. It will create you a project with all the required folders and also sample code. Sample code means by default one controller, some models, some views, all the things will be available to you when you select MVC. See empty. An empty project template for creating ASP.NET application. This template does not have any content in it, nothing will be there. But if I select MVC, see, a project template creating an ASP.NET MVC application, ASP.NET MVC allows you to build applications using the MVC architecture. ASP.NET MVC includes many features that enable fast test-driven development for creating application that uses the latest standards. And here it will describe you what is web forms, and here it will describe you what is web API. Understood or not? Okay, so here in these three cases, if I select a web forms or MVC or web API directly and create a project, what I'll get? All the references plus sample code. If I select empty, what I'll get? All the references and folders empty, but I don't have any sample code at all. So I'll show you two projects. Watch it. First, I'll create you empty. First, let me create you empty. Select MVC. And another thing, apart from that, make sure all other checkboxes are unchecked here. So this one is to use HTTPS protocol. I'll teach you this in MVC core, how to use this HTTPS protocol. Means you can build an application for HTTPS also. I'll teach you in the core, guys. As of now, ignore it. Make sure all other checkboxes are selected, unchecked, except MVC. Okay? Click on the create button. This will create you a project. What? Why you did not select MVC? There is no MVC project option directly available. That is available only in the core. The MVC project option is core. That's what I'm telling you. You are developing .NET framework. And Mr. Galaxy 51, change your name here. Put your name there. How to call you? Okay, all of you. Just not your mobile names or something. Put your mail. Put your names when you're logging in, guys. Or you have an option to rename, you can just right click and you can rename yourself. Yeah, I'm just going to create a project. So it takes time. Why? Because the blank project, you're asking for MVC, it has to add all the project references, all the required assemblies for creating a MVC project. All those things will be added. It will be creating some folders to you. All these things, it will literally take time for the first time when you create a project. Okay. So it just creates a project. Blank project will be created with no controllers, no models, no views. Nothing will be there. Everything is empty. But if at all I open a project, choosing what? MVC directly. If at all I select a project choosing MVC, you'll have some sample controllers, sample models, and also sample views. All those things will come. And I said you that I'm developing an application by .NET framework. That's what we are learning .NET framework first. That is MVC5. MVC5 runs on .NET framework only. We are not learning MVC core. After completing this, we will jump into MVC core. Then I'll choose your MVC core project. Now it is a .NET framework project. Okay, let the project create, guys. It is taking time. We'll wind up. We'll just wind up. But tomorrow onwards, just try to be on time in the session, on time in the class. So it will open. Tomorrow I'll just demonstrate you. This one, I will also create you a project selecting MVC directly. Both the two things will put side by side and we'll try to understand what are the files we have in this one and what are the files we have in this one. Both the two things comparison we'll do in the next session. Is that clear? Let's stop here. We'll meet tomorrow. No, framework is not like cross-platform. Framework is not like cross-platform, yeah. Purely Windows-based, it's available. Yes, the meeting ID is same from tomorrow onwards. It won't change. The meeting ID is the same from tomorrow. It won't change. No, 1015 C sharp did not change, I think. 1015 C sharp did not change. It will start between 7:15 to 7:30. Sagar, be on time. See, because I need to come run my systems and all. Between 7:15 to 7:30 we'll start the session. But I cannot tell you exactly I'll start sharp at the time because a lot of other parameters are also there. But you guys be on time by 7:15 in the meeting. I said you now, Arun, install 2022. Install 2022 on the top of 2019. Means both at the same time. They will be doing testing and also developing. But you need to have knowledge on testing for that. Unit testing. Developer only will be performing testing also. We call that unit testing. That will be done by developer itself. Pampichaman who said we don't do unit testing in web forms? I said unit testing is going to be easy here, that's all. I did not say we don't do testing in web forms. Yes, we're teaching ASP Net and MVC. Then just use 2019 only. Some features, what I teach latest may not work for you. No, I don't. Vishal, don't. I teach. This only MVC. We'll teach only MVC. MVC 5, MVC core. Okay, don't expect anything. In the syllabus, API is also there. So I'll teach you. But don't ask me, sir, testing, sir, that one, this one, that won't be covered. Ask your admin, Godavari. Ask your admin. Okay, guys, let me wind up the session here. Yeah, and today's video anyhow they'll give you, but from tomorrow onwards videos won't be given. Today's video will be given because some people joined late. Today's video they'll provide to you, okay? Yeah, but not immediately. They'll give you by end of the day or tomorrow. Galaxy. Yeah, videos will be given. For that you need to pay another 3,500 extra. If you paid 7,000, you'll be given videos. If you paid 7,000, they'll give you videos to you. But remember, don't share the videos. They'll be sending it to you on your email. They'll be sending them to you on your email and don't share them with anyone. In .NET also there is an inbuilt option for test project creation. Not like Selenium, but we have an option for test project creation for that also. Guys, let's meet tomorrow, guys. I have another session. Let's